I'm a red panda. When I was very young, the mountain god grandpa pointed to the house down the mountain and told me my wife lived there. I had to cultivate hard and turn human to meet him. Couldn't wait. I brought flowers to see him every day. But soon, my wife moved away. The mountain god grandpa said that the day I became human, my wife would come back. I believed him completely. I cultivated diligently. The very day I finally took human form, my wife really returned. Afraid he would leave again, I brought the prettiest flowers from the mountain, still unable to hide my tail and ears, and knocked on his door. "Hi, wife, I'm here." Chapter 1. Flowers at the Threshold. The door swung open sooner than I expected, and there he stood, Han, my wife, looking taller and more serious than the boy I remembered from years ago. His eyes widened at the sight of me clutching a bundle of wildflowers, my ears twitching atop my head and my tail swaying behind me despite every effort to tuck it away. For a moment he just stared. Then he stepped back slightly, as if unsure whether to close the door or speak. I beamed up at him, thrusting the flowers forward. "These are for you, the best ones from the mountain. I picked them myself." He didn't take them right away, glancing instead at my ears, then down to where my tail peeked out from under my hastily thrown together clothes. "Who are you?" he asked, voice flat but not unkind, more confused than anything. I couldn't contain my excitement. "It's me, your husband. I finally turned human just like the mountain god grandpa said I would. You came back the same day. I knew it meant we could be together now." His brow furrowed, and he rubbed his temple. "Husband? Look, I think there's some misunderstanding here. Come in for a minute, but just keep those flowers outside. Okay? The place is dusty enough." I stepped inside eagerly, placing the flowers on the doorstep as instructed, though it pained me to leave them behind. The house carried the faint scent of neglect, boxes stacked in corners and sheets draped over furniture. When Han closed the door and turned to me, arms crossed. "Start from the beginning. Why do you keep calling me that?" I fidgeted with my fingers, ears flattening a bit under his steady gaze. "Because we're engaged. When you were little and really sick, your family came to the mountain temple looking for your destined match. They found me, a red panda, and the fortune teller said I was the one. They made the promise and you got better right after. The mountain god grandpa always told me the house down here held my wife, and I waited all this time, cultivating every day until I could become human and come find you properly." He listened without interrupting, but his expression shifted from confusion to something harder, almost pained. Then he shook his head. "That was just a desperate ritual. My parents were grasping at anything to help me survive. It wasn't real, certainly not a real engagement. And even if they said those things back then, it was to an animal, not this." He gestured vaguely at me, at my lingering ears and tail. My heart sank, but I refused to accept it. "It was real to me. I brought you flowers every day when you still lived here before. You always smiled and tried to keep me longer, hugging me close. Don't you remember?" A flicker crossed his face. Recognition, maybe, but he quickly masked it. "I remember a little red panda showing up sometimes. I was a kid, lonely and stuck indoors because of my health. Of course I liked the visits. But that doesn't mean we're married or whatever you think this is. You can talk and walk like a person now, fine, but we're both guys and this whole thing is impossible." I stepped closer, undeterred. "Being guys doesn't matter. I don't mind at all. You can be my wife however you are." His cheeks colored slightly and he looked away. "Stop saying that word. Just stop." Before I could argue more, he moved toward the door. "You should go back where you came from. This isn't going to work." He gently but firmly guided me outside, pressing the flowers back into my arms. I clutched them tightly, staring up at him. "But I waited so long. You really don't want me here." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's not about want in that way. It's just not right. Go home." The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the path. I glanced at the sky and hugged the flowers closer. "It's getting dark. The mountain path is tricky at night." He hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. "Fine. I'll walk you back. At least make sure you get there safely." Relief washed over me as we started up the winding trail together. He kept a careful distance at first, hands in his pockets, but I stayed close, chattering to fill the silence. "You know, when you moved away, I kept bringing flowers anyway, leaving them by the empty house. The mountain god grandpa said you'd return once I succeeded in cultivating. And look, you did." When Han didn't respond much, only occasional short acknowledgements, but I noticed his breathing grew labored as we climbed higher. He paused once, leaning against a tree to catch his breath, and I worried his old weakness lingered despite the years. At last we reached the old mountain temple, its structure weathered and overgrown, roof sagging in places. I led him inside proudly. This is home. I have a cozy nest right here. I pointed to a pile of soft leaves and moss in the corner. When Han surveyed the space quietly, then frowned. You sleep on the ground? And bathe in the stream? I nodded enthusiastically. The stream's perfect, cold but refreshing. And the nest is warm, even in rain. His frown deepened, and he asked more questions about how I managed alone up here. The more he learned, the more troubled he looked, until finally he shook his head. This isn't right. You can't stay here like this. Hope surged in me again. Does that mean I can come back with you? He paused for a long moment, then sighed. Come on, let's head down before it's fully dark. As we descended, he walked slower this time, no longer rushing. When we reached his door again, he held it open. You can stay tonight. The place needs cleaning anyway. And, well, just for tonight. I bounded inside, tail wagging despite my efforts to still it. Thank you. I'll help clean everything tomorrow. I'm great at it. When Han pointed toward the bathroom. First, go wash up. You've been climbing all day. I hesitated in the doorway, clutching my clothes. I don't have anything else to change into, and I'm not sure how all this works. The stream doesn't need bottles and knobs. He stared for a second, then muttered something under his breath and disappeared into another room. He returned with fresh clothes, his own, soft and oversized on me, and stepped into the bathroom to demonstrate the shower, turning knobs and explaining shampoo and soap with quick, slightly embarrassed instructions. See? Easy. Do it properly, then come out. I nodded eagerly and managed on my own, emerging later with damp hair and wearing his clothes that hung loosely. He sat waiting with a towel and a strange buzzing device. Without a word, he pulled me to sit and began rubbing my hair dry, vigorous enough to make me dizzy. Then he switched on the device. A hairdryer and warm air blasted out. I yelped and tried to pull away, but he held my shoulder gently. Hold still. It won't hurt you. The warmth felt strange but nice, especially when his fingers brushed my ears accidentally. Does it burn? He asked softly. I shook my head. No, just different. When he finished, my hair fluffed out wildly, and he almost smiled. He set the dryer aside and leaned back. You can stay longer than tonight, if you follow rules. No more calling me that word or saying weird things about us being married. Agree and you stay. Disagree, and you go back to the temple tomorrow. My ears drooped at the condition, but staying mattered more than any title. I agree. I'll be good. Inside, though, I knew the words would slip out eventually. He was my wife, after all, no matter what he said. For now, this was enough. A roof, warmth, and him nearby. As he showed me to a spare room with an actual bed, I hid my grin. Tomorrow I would start proving how useful a husband could be, rules or no rules. Chapter 2. Broom Handles and Buried Smiles. The next morning I woke before the sun fully lit the windows, excitement pulling me from the soft bed that still felt strangely luxurious compared to my old nest. When Han remained asleep in his room down the hall, so I slipped out quietly and began tackling the dust that lingered in every corner. Boxes needed shifting, shelves begged for wiping, and floors cried out for a proper sweep. As I worked, humming softly to myself, satisfaction grew with each cleaner surface. This was what a good husband did, after all, making the home welcoming for his wife. By the time when Han emerged, rubbing sleep from his eyes and pausing at the sight of me on my knees scrubbing the kitchen tiles, half the main rooms already gleamed. He cleared his throat. You really don't have to do all this. People were here cleaning before I arrived. It's not that bad. I looked up with a grin, cloth still in hand. It's no trouble. This is what husbands do. Take care of the house so you don't have to worry. His expression tightened immediately, and he pointed a finger at me. What did I say yesterday about that word? No calling yourself that, remember? Or anything like it. My ears drooped under his stern gaze, and I nodded quickly. Sorry, it slipped. Won't happen again. He sighed but didn't press further, instead grabbing another cloth to join me without another word. We worked side by side for hours, moving furniture, organizing scattered items, and wiping away years of neglect. Conversation stayed light at first. Me asking about the strange cleaning tools he owned, him explaining how the vacuum worked and demonstrating it with a quick push across the rug. I marveled at the noise and suction, laughing when it tugged at my tail accidentally. When Han watched the tail flick in response, his eyes lingering longer than usual before he turned away abruptly. Keep that under control if you can. It's distracting. I tried tucking it tighter, but it popped out again moments later, earning another quick glance from him. As we finished the living room, I couldn't help wondering why he returned alone. No family trailing behind like when he was young. No one fussing over his health. Questions bubbled up, but his occasional silences and clipped answers kept me quiet. Pushing might make him send me away, and that risk felt too great. By midday the house looked transformed, brighter and more lived in. When Han prepared a simple meal, stir-fried vegetables and rice, and I devoured it eagerly, eyes widening at flavors far richer than anything the mountain offered. This is amazing. We only eat things raw up there, nuts, fruits, bamboo if I can find it. Cooking changes everything. He watched me eat with mild curiosity. You've really never had proper food before? I shook my head, mouth full. Never needed to, but now I see why humans bother. It's worth the effort. A faint smile tugged at his lips, the first real one-eyed scene, and warmth spread through me at the sight. Afternoons settled into a quiet rhythm over the following days. When Han spent time sketching or reading in his study, while I handled small chores and explored the house boundaries. My ears and tail refused to vanish completely no matter how much I practiced, and I caught him staring more often. Quick peeks when he thought I wasn't looking, especially when a breeze ruffled the fur or my tail brushed against furniture. Once, while I reached high to dust a shelf, he approached from behind and lightly touched an ear, as if testing its reality. I froze, heart racing. What are you doing? He pulled back quickly. Nothing. Just checking if they're real. Don't get ideas. I don't want anyone else seeing them and freaking out. I turned to face him, hopeful. You could touch more if you want. They're soft. He scoffed and walked away. Not interested. Keep them hidden around people. Disappointment settled in. The mountain god grandpa hadn't appeared since my transformation, leaving me without guidance. And now, even when Han pretended indifference, friends visited occasionally. Squirrels and birds dropping by with nuts or news, and one afternoon Mr. Squirrel arrived with a pile of acorns, chattering advice as we sat in the yard. To make him truly happy, show your true form more. Humans can't resist something fluffy. Trust me, I've seen it. Be bold. He'll melt. The idea sparked immediately. When Han did seem tenser lately, staring into distance and swallowing pills with meals. If fluff helped, I would provide it. That evening when Han sat in the living room, phone to his ear, voice low and strained during what sounded like an unpleasant call. I hesitated in the doorway, then decided this was the moment. Slipping into my room first, I shifted back to red panda form, clothes pooling around me as I scampered out on 4 paws. He didn't notice at first, back turned, but when I approached and gently rubbed my head against his leg like I'd seen cats do in stolen glimpses years ago, he jolted and nearly kicked out in surprise. Looking down, recognition softened his features, and he ended the call abruptly. I leaped onto his lap before he could protest, nuzzling closer. At first he held stiff, hands hovering uncertainly, but soon one settled on my back, stroking tentatively. Encouraged, I rolled to expose my belly, and his touch grew bolder. Fingers burying into fur, scratching behind ears, tracing paws. Laughter escaped him quietly, tension easing from his shoulders as he lifted me higher, face pressing briefly into my side. You always know when I need this, huh? The affection poured out unrestrained now, far beyond accidental brushes in human form, and I purred contentedly until drowsiness took over. Night fell, and as when Han prepared for bed, I padded after him in panda form, planting myself at his door. Shifting partially to speak, I sat up on hind legs. We should sleep together. Husbands and wives share a bed. It's normal. He crouched down, exasperation clear. We're not that, and no. Go to your room. I circled his feet stubbornly. But you liked holding me earlier. It made you happy, I saw it. Why stop now? He blocked my attempts to dart past. That was different. Just, no. Undeterred, I pressed on. Don't you want me close? I'm soft and warm. His patience snapped gently. He scooped me up, holding me at eye level. Fine. If you insist on sharing, don't complain later. Carrying me to his room, he set me on the bed and climbed in after, pulling covers over us both. What followed surprised even me. His hands explored every inch of fur with unabashed delight, rubbing belly and ears until I squirmed from overstimulation. Yet he only chuckled softly when I protested weakly. Exhaustion claimed me eventually, curled against his chest, and in that haze I noticed he set aside his pill bottle untouched. Feel better, I murmured sleepily. His hand paused on my head. Yeah, a lot better. For the first time since arriving, real peace settled over the house, and I drifted off knowing my efforts mattered. He needed this closeness as much as I did, even if he wouldn't admit it yet. Chapter 3. Sketches and Shadows of Doubt. Morning light filtered through the curtains as I stirred awake when Han's bed, still in my red panda form from the night before, nestled against his side. He shifted slightly when I moved, his hand instinctively finding my fur again for a quick stroke before he fully woke. I transformed back to human shape under the covers, clothes from the previous day slipping on easily now with practice, and slipped out to prepare breakfast. Simple things I'd learned from watching him, like boiling water for tea and toasting bread. When he joined me in the kitchen, hair tousled from sleep, he paused at the sight of the spread. "You didn't have to get up early for this." I grinned proudly. "Wanted to. Good husbands start the day right." He shot me a warning look but let it slide with only a soft exhale, sitting down to eat. The routine we'd fallen into felt comfortable now. Me handling light tasks around the house, him sketching in quiet corners, and evenings often ended with me shifting to panda form for extended cuddles that left him noticeably lighter, his pill bottle gathering dust on the nightstand. My friends from the mountain noticed the change too. With when Han's mood improved, they visited more boldly, scampering through the yard without fear of being shooed away. One sunny afternoon, Mr. Squirrel arrived again, balancing a fresh haul of nuts while chattering about mountain gossip. We sat in the yard sharing his gifts, when Han nearby with his sketchpad propped up, pencil moving steadily. "You seem settled here," Mr. Squirrel observed between bites. "But are you sure about tying yourself to a human? Better to find one of your own kind. Someone who understands without all this shape-changing hassle." I bristled immediately, snatching a nut from his paw. "When Han is perfect, he's the best wife anyone could have. You can't talk about him like that." Mr. Squirrel didn't take offense, just tilted his head wisely. "Humans accept their own kind fully. You can turn human, sure, but deep down you're still a red panda. They might treat you more like a pet than a partner. I've seen it before. Lived among them once, even tried changing myself. Ended up back on the mountain, happier alone." His words lingered as he left, but I pushed them aside, focusing instead on when Han's focused expression across the yard. He glanced up occasionally, capturing quick lines on paper. My friends playing, me lounging in the grass, but always, it seemed, when I was in panda form during these visits. Later that day when Han showed me his growing collection in the study. Pages filled with drawings of me as a red panda, curled up sleeping, climbing low branches with friends, or simply sitting with paws tucked neatly. Photos joined them on a small board, snapped candidly during yard playtime, again only in my original shape. "These are incredible," I said genuinely, though a small unease stirred. "You make me look so lively." He nodded modestly. "It's easier when you're like that. Natural poses. Better light on the fur details." I waited for him to flip to any sketches of my human form, but there were none, and when I shifted right there to pose dramatically on two legs, he chuckled but set the pencil down. "Maybe later. Right now the animal ones flow better." The affection came freely in panda evenings. Hands buried deep, face nuzzling close. But in human moments, touches stayed brief, almost polite, like accidental brushes while passing tools or sharing meals. Mr. Squirrel's warning echoed louder. Was this all I was to him, a fluffy distraction rather than a real companion? Doubt grew over the next days. When Han raised his camera or opened his sketchbook in the yard, I'd catch myself shifting unconsciously to human if nearby, or simply wandering inside to avoid the lens entirely. Playtime with friends became shorter. I'd excuse myself early, claiming chores, and watch from windows as he captured only the panda versions scampering about. One evening he tried coaxing me out. "Come join. Your friends are here, and the light's perfect for a few shots." I lingered in the doorway, arms crossed. "Maybe tomorrow. Tired today." He lowered the camera slowly, brow creasing. "You've been dodging lately. Everything okay?" I forced a quick nod and retreated, curling up in my room instead of joining him for the usual bedtime routine. Shifting alone felt pointless without his eager hands, and sleep came restlessly, questions circling. If he truly saw me as a partner, why ignore half of what I could be? The avoidance stretched into a week. Friends noticed first, Mr. Squirrel pulling me aside during a visit. "He's still only drawing the fluffy you, isn't he? Told you, humans compartmentalize." I defended weakly, but the evidence piled up. New sketches pinned daily, all panda, while human interactions stayed surface level, warm but contained. When Han's improved spirits relied on those fluffy sessions, his laughter freer then, tension melting away without pills. Yet the imbalance stung. I wanted him to crave closeness in every form, not just the one that felt safe or artistic. Finally, one quiet afternoon in the yard, He set his pad aside and approached where I sat pretending to organize scattered nuts. Jiang Ran talked to me. You've been distant, hiding inside whenever I draw or take photos, barely shifting at night anymore. Did I do something wrong? His directness caught me off guard, voice laced with genuine concern rather than frustration. I looked down at my hands, twisting a leaf stem. It's just, you only seem excited when I'm the panda. All your drawings, the photos, none of me like this, human-shaped. Touches too, real ones only then. Do you prefer me that way? Like a pet? Not someone equal. The words tumbled out quieter than intended, vulnerability raw. He knelt to my level, surprise clear before softening into understanding. Is that what you've been thinking? No wonder you've pulled back. I met his eyes reluctantly, waiting for denial or confirmation, heart pounding at the risk of hearing the truth, that Mr. Squirrel was right, and all my waiting amounted to being a comforting animal companion. When Han reached out slowly, resting a hand on my knee instead of pulling away. We need to clear this up properly. Come inside. Let's talk without interruptions. As we moved to the living room, reluctance mixed with hope. Whatever he said next could mend or shatter the fragile home we'd built, but at least the silence had broken. Chapter 4. Lines drawn and lines crossed. We settled onto the couch in the living room, when Han facing me directly with none of his usual quick deflections. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, gathering words before speaking. First, about the drawings and photos. It's not that I prefer you as a panda or see you as some pet. That's not it at all. I searched his face for any sign of softening the truth, but he held steady. Then why only capture me that way? In human form, I'm right here, moving around, talking, easy to sketch or snap anytime. He nodded, acknowledging the point. Photographing people is harder for me. With you in panda form, the shots come out lively, full of motion and expression that feels genuine. When you're human, I try, but the results look stiff, forced, like I'm not capturing the real you. You'd hate seeing them, trust me. They'd feel wrong, not flattering at all. I considered that, tilting my head. So it's a skill thing? You just need practice on human me. He gave a small shrug. Maybe, but that's only part of it. He continued before I could interrupt. The sketches, drawing a person means long posing sessions. Sitting still for hours, no playing with friends, no sudden movements. You'd get bored fast. I know you. Panda you moves freely, and I can work from quick observations or memory. It's practical. I crossed my arms, still not fully convinced. Practical sounds like an excuse. What about the touching? In panda form you go all out, hours of it, no holding back. Human form? Barely a pat on the shoulder. Color rose in his cheeks, and he rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. That's the big one, yeah. Look, burying my face in your belly or rubbing everywhere when you're a panda. It's affectionate, sure, but acceptable because it's cute, animal-like. If I did half that in human form, it'd come off creepy, like some weirdo taking advantage. I don't want to cross that line and make you uncomfortable, or worse, make you think that's all I see in you. His honesty hit unexpectedly, and I felt my defensiveness crack. You worry about seeming like a creep? That's why you hold back. He nodded firmly. Exactly. Restraint keeps things safe. But it doesn't mean I like human you any less. You're expressive, helpful, fun to talk to in this form too. The panda side just lets me relax more without overthinking. I processed his words slowly, the knot of doubt loosening. Mr. Squirrel's warnings felt misplaced now, when Han wasn't compartmentalizing out of disinterest but caution. Okay, I said finally, voice softer. I get it. No more dodging the camera then or hiding when you draw. Deal? Relief flashed across his face, and he extended a hand to shake on it, pulling me into a quick hug instead when I reached out. Deal. And sorry for letting you stew on this alone. The embrace lingered longer than usual in human form, his arms secure around my back, and I leaned into it fully, tension from days of avoidance melting away. When we parted, something shifted in the air, easier, closer, like a barrier had dissolved. That evening flowed smoother. I joined him in the yard without hesitation, shifting between forms playfully while he tested new sketches of both. Laughter came quicker from him, and when night fell, our bedtime routine resumed with enthusiastic cuddles in panda shape. His touches even more appreciative now that explanations bridged the gap. Yet as we lay there later, him stroking my fur absent-mindedly while staring at the ceiling, I sensed lingering weight on his mind. He'd opened up about me. Maybe it was time he shared more. When Han, I murmured, shifting to human beside him for clearer words. You've been happier lately, no more staring off sadly, fewer pills. But something still bothers you. Why come back here alone? The mountain god grandpa mentioned your family moved to the city long ago. He stilled his hand, silence stretching before he sighed deeply. It's not a light story. You sure you want it tonight? I nodded against his shoulder. If it helps you carry less, yes. He turned to face me fully, voice low. I'm a designer, used to work in the city with a studio, building a career. Half a year ago, accusations hit. Plagiarism. Someone claimed I stole ideas, provided evidence that looked damning, similarities in work, timestamps favoring them. The backlash destroyed my reputation overnight. I listened intently, anger stirring on his behalf. But you didn't do it? He shook his head. No. I know my process, those were original. But proving it? Impossible without knowing who sabotaged me. Likely someone close leaking drafts or worse. The suspicion ate at me constantly, fueling anxiety until I couldn't design anymore. Barely slept without meds. His vulnerability poured out now, unfiltered. Moving back here was escape. Quiet to heal, away from questions and stares. Treatment helped some, your arrival helped more than you know. But running solved nothing long-term. The confession hung heavy, explaining his initial coldness, the distant gazes, the relief in simple distractions. Those people, they hurt you badly? I said fiercely, sitting up. Hiding here lets them win, makes everyone believe the lies. You can't let that stand. He propped himself on an elbow, surprised by my intensity. What else can I do? Evidence is gone. Trust shattered. I grabbed his hand firmly. Go back. Dig for proof, the traitor, the real story. Face it head-on and clear your name. Escaping keeps you trapped. Fighting frees you. He searched my eyes, conflict warring. It's not simple. Returning means reopening everything. The pain, the judgment. I squeezed tighter. Then don't do it alone. You'll find the truth because you're honest. And once you do, shove it in their faces. You deserve that. A small, wry smile formed. Bossy tonight, aren't you? I huffed playfully. Someone has to push you. Promise you'll think about it. He pulled me back down, arm wrapping around me securely. I promise. More than thinking, your words make sense. Maybe it's time. Sleep came easier after that, his breathing steady beside me, the shared burdens lightening the room. Over the next days, resolve built in him visibly. Longer discussions about the accusations, reviewing old files on his computer, contacting distant contacts cautiously. My encouragement fueled him. I'd bring tea during late sessions, offer simple distractions when frustration rose, reminding him constantly that innocence would win out. One afternoon, he closed his laptop decisively. You're right. I can't hide forever. I'm heading back to the city soon to investigate properly. Gather what I need to fight this. Pride swelled in me at his determination. Good. Prove them wrong. He ruffled my hair gently. Couldn't have reached this without you pushing. Our bond felt stronger now, forged in mutual openness. His past no longer a shadow, but a challenge we'd face together somehow. Chapter 5. Roads taken and roads ahead. When Han wasted no time after making his decision, spending the next mornings on calls and packing light bags with files and clothes. He moved with new purpose. The weight of indecision lifted, and I trailed him proudly, fetching tea or organizing papers whenever he looked overwhelmed. I'll head to the city in a few days, he announced one afternoon over lunch, setting down his chopsticks decisively. Dig through old contacts, request records, whatever it takes to trace the sabotage. It shouldn't drag on forever. Once I have proof, I can rebuild properly. I nodded eagerly, thrilled by his resolve. You'll crush them with the truth. They won't know what hit them. He smiled faintly at my enthusiasm. Come with me. The countryside will still be here. We'll return once this mess clears. You could see the city, experience something new. The invitation caught me off guard. Leaving the familiar mountain paths and quiet house felt daunting. A leap into unknown chaos where my ears and tail might draw stares or worse. I don't know, I hedged, poking at my rice. Staying here to watch the place sounds better. You focus on winning. I'll wait. He studied me for a moment but didn't push. If you're sure, I won't force it. Days blurred as he prepared alone, and I busied myself with chores to mask growing unease. Nights brought closeness as always, me shifting to Panda for his unwinding cuddles, his hands steady and grateful. But even there, worry crept in. What if the city swallowed him again, reigniting old stresses without me nearby to soothe? What if accusations escalated and he needed backup right then? One evening, as he reviewed notes late into the night, I paced my room restlessly, tail flicking despite efforts to calm it. The house felt emptier already with his impending departure, and the thought of solitary waiting twisted uncomfortably. By bedtime, resolve hardened. Joining him made sense. Support from close range, shared strength against whatever waited. I slipped into his room where he read under dim light, climbing onto the bed without shifting forms. "I've decided," I declared firmly, meeting his surprised gaze. "I'm coming too. Can't let you face those liars alone." He set the papers aside immediately. "Changed your mind? What brought this on?" I shrugged, settling beside him. "You might need me. And honestly, waiting here alone sounds boring now." Excitement overrode hesitation quickly. Before dawn the next day, we headed up the mountain path one last time so I could say proper goodbyes. The temple stood silent as ever, mountain god Grandpa absent as usual, but I knelt before the statue anyway, whispering thanks for guidance and promising a swift return. Friends gathered sensing the journey. Birds fluttering overhead, squirrels chattering farewells. Mr. Squirrel pulled me aside last, expression grave. "Humans can't always be trusted in their world. Guard your heart. Come back if it sours." I hugged him tightly. When Han's different, he's worth it. But I'll remember the way home. With packs slung over shoulders, we boarded the bus down to the main road, then a train into the city. Everything fascinated me at first. Rushing landscapes through windows, the hum of engines, snacks from passing carts. But novelty faded into nerves as buildings grew taller and crowds thicker. "What if your parents don't like me?" I whispered during a quiet stretch, leaning close to avoid the driver overhearing. "Not every human accepts a talking red panda." When Han squeezed my hand reassuringly. "They arranged the engagement back then, chose you as my destined match. If anyone objects, they'll answer to their own old promises." Arrival brought a whirlwind. His family home sprawled larger than the countryside house, filled with warm lights and the scent of home-cooked meals. When Han guided me inside, then pulled his parents aside for a private talk in the kitchen while I lingered awkwardly in the hall, ears twitching under a hastily tied hat. Voices rose slightly. His mother's shocked gasp clear. "That's the red panda from the temple? Turned human now." My cheeks burned at being discussed, but when they emerged, smiles replaced surprise. His mother approached first, pulling me into a gentle hug. "Jiang Ran, right? No need to hide or worry, this is your home too. We're grateful. You saved our son once as a child, and look at him now, happier because of you." His father nodded warmly, clapping when Han's shoulder. "Whatever brought you both here, stay as long as needed." Relief flooded me. Their acceptance felt genuine. No probing questions about my origins beyond fond recalls of the old ritual. They fussed lightly, preparing a room, offering snacks, and I relaxed into the welcome, though city noises filtering through windows kept me alert. When Han dove into work immediately, leaving early for meetings and returning late with updates. Questioned colleagues, reviewed timelines, pieced together discrepancies. I stayed behind, exploring the house cautiously at first, then venturing short walks with his parents' guidance. They treated me kindly, sharing stories of when Han's childhood illnesses and how the temple visits sparked his recovery. "We never expected this outcome," his mother admitted one afternoon over tea, eyes twinkling. "But seeing you two together, it's right." Evenings reunited us. I'd greet him at the door, eager for progress reports, and we'd unwind with talks or quiet cuddles once alone. City life intrigued in bursts. Tall structures, endless shops, vehicles everywhere. But boredom settled as days stretched without his constant presence. Chores here felt unnecessary with everything maintained, and missing mountain freedom grew sharper. One night, perched on his lap in the study while he typed, I sighed dramatically. When does this end? The city's interesting, but I miss our quiet house. Fresh air, friends dropping by. He paused work, wrapping arms around me. Closing in fast. Leads point to one person. Soon as confirmed, we wrap up and head back. Promise. Adapting brought small humors too. His parents discovering our shared bed despite separate rooms assigned. His mother cornered me privately one morning. We adore you, but traditionally, couples confirm things before co-sleeping. Give it time. Flustered, I nodded, moving back to my room that night only for when Han to slip in later, puzzled. Why the switch? I explained awkwardly, and he chuckled softly, pulling me close under covers anyway. We're beyond traditions. You're my wife, remember? Rules bend. His teasing warmed me, and I didn't resist long, drifting off secure in his hold. Support flowed both ways. My presence steadied him through tense days, reminders of home fueling his fight. As clues solidified, anticipation built. Not just for his vindication, but returning together stronger. Chapter 6. Homebound Hearts and Playful Claims. Progress accelerated once when Han narrowed his suspects, his late nights yielding concrete leads through old emails and shared files. I hovered supportively, bringing midnight snacks or curling up nearby in Panda form when exhaustion hit him hardest, my presence a silent anchor. One evening he burst through the door earlier than usual, eyes bright with triumph. It's confirmed. The guy who visited the countryside house, pushing me to change my name and style? He had access, motive, everything lines up. Leaked drafts to arrival, fabricated timestamps. Relief and anger mingled in his voice. Police are involved now. Evidence submitted. Should wrap soon. I leaped up, hugging him tightly. Told you truth wins. He'll regret messing with you. He held me close, tension draining. Couldn't have done this without you here. Your push got me moving. Over the following weeks, proceedings moved swiftly. Statements given, proof validated, accusations retracted publicly. When Han severed old ties completely, launching his own independent studio from home, designs flowing freely again without shadows of doubt. With the storm cleared, thoughts turned to return, but his parents clung tighter each day, discovering our shared sleeping arrangements despite initial separate rooms. His mother noticed first, pulling me aside during breakfast preparations. We love having you both, truly, but co-sleeping. It's a big step. Make sure things are settled between you first. Embarrassed, I agreed, packing my things that very night into the guest room. When Han returned late, finding me alone under unfamiliar covers. What's this about? He asked, sliding in beside me anyway. Your mom said we should wait. Confirm the relationship properly before sharing a bed every night. He laughed softly, pulling me against him. Silly rules. You're already my wife, have been since you knocked with those flowers. Mom's worry, that's all. I protested weakly. But traditions. He silenced me with a gentle kiss to the forehead. Traditions bend for us. Stay. Comfort won out. I didn't move back out. Excitement built as renovation plans for the countryside house took shape. When Han coordinating remotely, expanding spaces, repairing the old structure while adding modern touches. Better kitchen for your cooking experiments, he teased, showing sketches one afternoon. And a proper yard enclosure. Safe spot for your friends to visit without wandering off. His parents contributed ideas eagerly, turning it into a family project. I became their favorite overnight. Requests to shift forms for quick cuddles, stories swapped about when Han's recovery tied to my childhood visits. Your family now, his father declared firmly, ruffling my hair, human or panda. When Han watched with mock jealousy, often scooping me away. Enough stealing my panda. Time to head back soon anyway. Packing commenced amid laughter, goodbyes warm but promising visits. The train ride home felt lighter, city fading behind as familiar hills rose ahead. Arrival revealed transformations. The house gleamed with fresh paint, rooms airy and updated. A dedicated play area in the yard complete with low platforms and shaded nooks for animal friends. When Han led me through proudly, saving the best for last. A wall corner by the entrance where I'd once left daily flowers as a small panda. Remember sneaking here, hoping to catch a glimpse? I nodded, tracing the spot fondly. You even tried grabbing me once, thought I'd make a good pet. He wrapped arms around me from behind, chin resting atop my head. Good thing I didn't succeed. Pets don't get to call the shots like you do. I twisted to face him, grinning. Speaking of wife, the word slipped out playfully, testing old boundaries. He didn't flinch, eyes softening instead. Yeah, your wife. Surprise halted me. Really? No more rules about weird words. He chuckled, pulling me closer. Real partners don't nitpick titles. Call me what you want. I've earned it. Joy bubbled over. I peppered him with questions. So husband works too? Old habits die hard. He nodded solemnly, though amusement danced in his gaze. Husband, wife, whatever fits. We're ours now. Evenings settled into blissful routine. Shared meals, yard play with visiting friends now welcomed openly. When Han sketching both my forms equally, touches free and frequent regardless of shape. One night, lounging together after a long cuddle session, me and Panda, him utterly content. I shifted back, propping up curiously. Back in the city, you teased about me being your wife to bypass your mom. Meant it then? He traced my ear lazily. Meant it longer than that. From the explanations, the push to fight back, staying through everything. You're home to me. Warmth filled every corner. Years of waiting culminated here, simple and profound. Playfulness crept in naturally over time. Mornings brought mock debates over chores. Husbands handle breakfast. I declare, only for him to counter with a smirk. Wives don't complain when it's perfect. Laughter followed, closeness deepening without need for grand gestures. Friends like Mr. Squirrel visited warily at first, eyeing the changes, but soon relaxed seeing harmony. Told you humans complicate things, he'd grumble, accepting treats anyway. But this one suits you. When Han's studio thrived remotely, inspiration endless in the quiet, anxiety a distant memory. Nights ended curled together, forms shifting as comfort dictated, his hand always finding mine or fur. Happy, he'd whisper occasionally. More than the mountain god Grandpa promised. I'd reply truthfully. One lazy afternoon in the yard, reminiscing about first arrivals. Flowers clutched, ears untamed. He pulled me onto his lap fully human. No regrets waiting all those years? I shook my head firmly. None. You're everything. He kissed me then, soft and certain, sealing the journey from destined promise to chosen life. The house wrapped around us like the home it always should have been, mountain breezes carrying approval. Titles swapped freely now, wife one moment, husband the next, each claim a private joy. In the end, love needed no single label. It simply was, enduring and bright as the flowers I'd once brought daily.